This week's video is a bit of a different one. I have not done a week in the life, mainly because it's half term and there's not been a lot to show. We've had a few clubs still on, but obviously I don't film their clubs. So this week is, as a home educator and mum, we say mum, 5 things I couldn't live without. These are things that are the main part of our home educating. I've asked the kids some of them and they've had a little bit of input, which is nice. And some of them are just the obvious, the ones that came straight to my head when I decided to do things I couldn't live without. Some of them I've probably already mentioned, so you'll already know about. And when people hear home educating, I think they think of this, especially in the UK, I think we've got this idea of either the hellish homeschool that we had to go through during COVID, or we have this beautiful countryside farmhouse table aesthetic, which is so, maybe that is some home educating families, they're very lucky if they've got that gorgeous countryside, rolling hills and fields outside of it's certainly not any home educators I know in the northeast of England, maybe up in Northumberland and whatnot, but it can be messy, it can be loud, it can be a little bit feral in this neurospicy house. It's really emotionally demanding, that's what I find. I often retreat up here for a little break. For me, it needs far more structure than people realise. I think they think that we just wing it and if something just pops up in conversation, we just learn about it. There's no planning. Some people do a home ed like that. I require structure and planning. That's just, I have ADHD and my style of home education requires quite a bit of prep. So home education isn't just about sitting down for lessons. It's about looking after your child's emotional needs. A lot of children will have particular neurodivergences. Some children will struggle socially. My children love socialising. That's the highlight of there. So that's not a big struggle for us, but some families will, and that's what that mental load is absorbed by the parent. So it can be really difficult. I think these few things that I'm going to talk about hold it all together for me as a parent. Not so much there's one at the end, which is definitely child related. You can tell a child has given that answer. They're not glamorous, they're not aesthetic. These things that I'm going to talk about, they're just real. They're the real things. So going straight in at number 1. So this is our beautiful dining table. Now, our dining table is not really for dining. Of course, we eat on it as well. Not always. Sometimes we're on our carousel chair. The kids' carousel chair in front of the sofa. But we do eat there as well. It's not its primary job. What can I say about this? So it is often, if you come into our house unannounced at any time, there will be a half completed art project. There will be probably some sort of science experiment going on the table. There will be handwriting sheets that have been done that morning and left there. My kids are good at that. Lego sets, they're used for cooking. If we're doing cooking that I've already prepped, they just need to weigh out and things. Often our kitchen is small, it's real life. They will sit at the dining table for that. Being around that dining table, it was from Facebook Marketplace. I think I bought it for less than £100. It's got 2 big long benches. It's about 200 centimetres. It's a big table. But it's our hub. It's everything that we do is around this table. If we're in the house, I prefer to be around the table rather than on the sofa or beds or wherever. It's not tidy, it's not staged, it's not set up beautifully, we have a lot of frustrated moments around that table. We have a lot of sad, kids don't always want to do maths, but that they are part of our non-negotiables on a daily, so they will go away, they will have a little bit of regulation. It's lived in. That's probably the best way that I can put it. It's life. It's it's our hub. That table really is our hub. I'll sit there and I'll nip to put a washing load in. I'll come back to the table. Between snack requests, I'll be back and forth to that table. If we have a little chat, a little check-in, sometimes one of the kids are sat at the table and I'll go and say, how's your day going? You know, how was your club? How was your online lesson? I'm never far from, obviously, safeguarding and things like that. We are always near the children when they're learning, apart from if they're in a club and we drop them off. But if they're learning online, we're always hovering, I suppose is the word. So that table sees it all. That table holds all the secrets. It's not Pinterest worthy. It's certainly it's no aesthetic staged table, but it sees everything. It sees the good and the bad. And I would highly recommend having a nice, as big a table as you can get for you all to sit around, even if it is even doubles up as other things as well. Doubles up. Our table as a desk. Obviously they eat on there. It is the art station. It's everything. That table is everything. Okay, now we have touched on number 2 before. Number 2 is folders. Now, we've only been home educating for 16 months with my eldest and about 4 months with my youngest. Each child has a folder. This is my son's. They are different. I'm not actually sure where my daughter's is, but this is my son's. They are very they are colour coded, and each subject has a, so if you have a look, they've got, this is a maths one if there's any maths worksheets, this one is a nature, this one is anything we've done on Twinkle, which is an online system, this is a tutor if they've been a tutor, this one's a zoo club we attend, this one's science, English and spelling, history and geography, and then we have an art and drawing. Everything is in there, but this folder, they'll have one of these every year. Every year they will have a folder, and say they've both got different ones. Now, even the most confident, I think I'm fairly confident in my home educating, that email from the local authority to say they either want a visit or they want a report for your yearly report. I don't think anyone probably doesn't get that knot in their stomach, because that's that. Have I done enough? Have I been a good enough teacher, I suppose? Have I done enough? So yes, they are colour-coded, section, dated. Each child has their own. They are kept in the same place. They are updated weekly. That is my reassurance. It's not for the children. Those folders aren't for the children. They are for my reassurance. Also, when I flick back, if I just look, obviously this from September to now, because we go just on a school year, so September. If I look in a maths now, looking at, can you see the numbers there? Already I can see a huge difference in the handwriting of his numbers. We're obviously doing far more advanced work than that now. I can then look at some of the activities, which I know would be an absolute doddle for him now. So it's, you don't see it day to day. You don't see the progress day to day, and sometimes you think, am I doing enough? Are they getting enough from us as parents educating? You look back at those folders and you're like, yeah, that is progress, and that is when you get that we're doing this, we're doing it right. So those maths things that would have been difficult back then, probably why I've included it in the because a lot of our work is done on an app or online, so a lot of it isn't printed out because I can just flick back on that app. But that, to me, looking at those examples I had and looking at now, I'm confident that is. So it puts things into perspective. That folder alleviates some of my fears, I suppose. My fears that someone's going to say, well, what have they learned? What I can say, hold on 1 minute, let me get my folders, and show them exactly what has been learned. It doesn't have to look like school to be valid learning. That helps me, but it doesn't, you don't have to. I just couldn't be without those folders, because that reassurance for me is worth everything. They just have one each. They do have, I also I have these ones, which were our Advent. So I kept these. So we followed this, which was the Celtic Countdown calendar, which was by the Gently Feathered Nest, which are fantastic. And they did a countdown to Advent, but every day had some learning. So I'll just flick to a random page. Day 7 was all about the history of the Yule log, why, what it is, why, what the tradition was, any baking recipes and things. So that is an addition to their standard learning. So when the doubt creeps in, you better believe I'm heading to that folder. Number 3, which you have seen before, is this bad boy, the planner. If it's not in there, it doesn't exist, basically. So let's skip to, I'm actually going to go a few weeks ahead because I don't want to give information of what we are doing in real time. So if I go to, it's going to be backwards, which drives my husband mad, but you know, it's you can look on Amazon if you want to have a look. Let's go from March the 2nd. It tells me that this week it is Nesting Birds Week. That is in our Nature with Children curriculum if we're doing that. It tells me it's Women's Day on the 8th. It's got about Lent in there. World Book Day is that week. Wildlife Day. So I would then schedule in during that week what is going on. I will also put in their non-negotiable blocks, their clubs, things that aren't going to move will be in there. This planner helps our transitions, so it helps that I don't plan anything too close together, which is important for my children. The sensory overload, I'm aware of that because I can look and go, oof, that is really heavy day. Let's see what can move into a different day. It's not, that isn't colour coded and aesthetic. It's really not. It's messy. Let me find an old day in it. It is messy. There's crossings out. There's, that's not aesthetic, and it is practical. That's exactly what it is. It's practical. It has weekly appointments. It has meals. Sometimes we'll put meal planning in there. I make notes for me as well, things that worked, things that didn't work, things to avoid. It affects everyone if that isn't up to date. So that really is a priority. The planner is a massive. We are flexible because I would say we have flexibility because of that. If that isn't kept up to date, that kind of impacts the rest of your week. So it gives us that structure. It's basically my brain on paper, that planner. So yes, I would definitely recommend it. This one is called, because I've had a few messages about this, it is called the Weekly Planner Schedule Edition, and the company is Go Girl. Weekly Planner Schedule Edition. So definitely recommend that. Okay, number 4 is, dun dun dun, it's right behind me. It's the printer. Now the printer sounds minor, but it allows me to respond instantly to the kids' interests. They could suddenly say, Mum, I'm really interested in the Titanic. And I can be like, oh, bear with. Print out a whole workbook, in seconds. If they suddenly decide they are interested in volcanoes at 8:30 in the morning, no problem. I'll just go and print out a little workbook or questionnaire or quiz to see what they already know. If they need a visual, which my children often do, I can create it in seconds. And yeah, don't be scared of the internet with home educating. Don't be scared of things like apps that can help you out. I know there's a lot of AI and people are terrified. Use it to your advantage. I'm not saying put all your kids' details and your family information in there, but use it to your advantage. Okay, they can be temperamental. They run out of ink at the worst moment. They'll get a paper jam, just for fun. It gives us the freedom to whatever they want and whatever they want to learn, I can quickly go and print a few sheets out and whew, that's just sorted for the afternoon. So how people live without a printer, I do not know. So definitely one of my top 5. And number 5 was my chart when I said to the kids, what are the top things we couldn't live without? Home ed life. They said snacks. It's not, I'm laughing because all they do is snack. Snack. Mum, can I have a snack? Mum, I'm starving. Mum, I'm hungry. A lot of it is because of their neurodivergence, and they crave not just the dopamine, but that sensory chewing, crunching, a lot of crunch for my little one. Low blood sugar, things like that. You can almost see when they hit that. If they're at school, they would probably just glaze over, but I see that sometimes in them, and they just hit that slump. And I'll be like, should we have a banana? Should we have a little banana break? And then you're back in the game. You know, these things aren't to be, you know, overlooked. It can really help if they just seem to hit a wall. You say, should we have a little snack and come back to this? You can do that. You've got the freedom to do that. It's lovely. It's just a lovely way to be able to learn without restrictions, not know you will only be hungry at 11:45 because that is the only option. That isn't the only option. You know, they can, if you have a look at my TikTok, there's a really amusing short going to be on there later about just a bit of a tongue-in-cheek laugh. Sometimes it is just hunger, and it's, you know, I'm maybe being a bit dramatic saying that it's low blood sugar and things like that. Sometimes the kids just like to eat. But if they are saying, I'm really hungry, and that is going to enable us to carry on learning, give them a banana. So yes, when people say, oh, how do you make it all work? How do you fit it all in? 5 things that I've just listed. I reckon I could do it on that alone. A table, folders, a planner, a printer, and snacks. I reckon that's a pretty solid start to home ed. It's not about that schools are rubbish or rejecting any structure. I've got quite a lot of structure in this house. I run quite a tight ship. It's not always calm. It's not always easy. It's not always pleasant. Some days I think I really have not enjoyed today, and that is okay. But I'm doing things purposefully. I'm doing things deliberately. I'm trying. I guess I am trying to do the best by them. Thank you for joining me again this week. We're having some lovely, the content is getting there with the engagement and things like that. So it's going to take a while. It's a niche subject, home education, but it is becoming more popular with flexi schooling and things like that. So thank you, and I will see you next week.